Hey, Pat.
What's going on?
Sharp pokey objects.
Sharp pokey objects.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about everyday carry pocket knives. And by I mean pocket knives are tools.
Knives that go in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. They're tools. The fighting knives are more fixed blades, right?
I agree.
So what we're going to do is break down some of our EDC knives that we carry on us.
Yeah. What's your thought process when you're looking for a knife you're going to carry every day?
Well, number one.
Yeah, number one criteria.
Is probably blade style, because I'm not a huge fan of serrated blades and stuff like that. The other is how it feels in the hand. I don't know. How about you? What's a
number one criteria for me is when I lose it, am I going to be sad?
Yeah,
because I've lost every everyday carry knife I've ever owned. I've lost it somewhere.
That's the thing.
Farm, they're gone.
I'm not buying high-end knives because I'm probably going to lose it eventually.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now I have when I dress up, I have dress-up knives that might cost $300. Folding knife. You know what I mean? Because it's like a nice watch when you go out.
I guess.
Nice. Right.
I guess I don't have it.
Yeah. But when I'm working, So I'm going to show you the first knife that I am carrying. Look, I'm taking it off of my body now. Oh, look at this baby. It's a Gerber. Look at this stupid clip. It's bent the fuck out. I've lost this knife twice and found it both times. You know what it says on it? Thank you, John Lonker. It says Central Mechanical because he gave me this knife that he made up for all his employees, I'm pretty sure, and they all got one. It's a free knife. If I lose this one, although I'm a little sad, this has been a really nice knife. I don't know what you think about it, but it's a really nice little using knife. Yeah, it's cutting twine, cutting boxes, sticking a bloated cow,
If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have grabbed that.
Put peanut butter and jelly on your sandwich, or if you need to cut cake, who said that? Chesty Bowler.
Puller.
Yeah, the Marine.
No.
Yeah. And you should have a sharp knife in case you need to cut cake.
No. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's been a good knife. Hey, but do I shop to pick out exact, things? Here's my other knife. And I don't carry ice switchies back and forth, to tell you the truth. This a little heavier. And weight makes a difference carrying it every day, but I like the way it comes out. Oh, what's that say on it, Pat?
Does it say Central Mechanical?
John Lonker, thank you again. I took this out and showed it to somebody one time, and I'm like, yeah, look, this knife John gave me. And he goes, wow. I don't know if you can read that. He had it engraved with your name. And I'm like, well, no, it's a buck knife. He didn't have it engraved with my name, by the way. It's a buck knife, but and that's another nice knife to use. It's got a little sticky stuff on it. I don't know. Here, touch it just in case.
No, that's probably sticky something bloated.
It could be another bloated cow or something, But both these knives are pretty. They're not really too much of a drop point. A little bit, pretty straight. Got a little belly to them. I like a little belly on a knife, but I don't choose it for that.
Yeah.
Let's look at some of yours.
This is a Buck Vanguard.
Oh, it's engraved with my name. Must be my knife.
Yeah. I really like this. I carried one. I lost the one that I had for a while, so this one doesn't open up as nice. But I carried this one, this type, for several years, and I liked how lightweight it was.
So I will show one thing about this knife versus this knife. The way it locks is the lock is in the rear. There's a notch in there, and this is the bar that locks it. This knife here, the way it locks is underneath. The bar comes across, and you got to push it this way. Okay, well, one thing, if you do this violently, you can cut yourself, but I find this to be a more secure blade locking mechanism than this.
Yeah.
Like every time I've had a knife, I'm doing something hard and it comes loose, it's been this style of lock and not this style lock, and then it comes down and cuts your finger,
Yeah.
But, again, we're talking about what, $30 knives here.
Yeah.
So, you know, what would be the possible lock on? But that is something that I do consider is when these knives first came out, folding knives, this was pretty much the only locking system that they came out in.
Yeah.
You know? And so it was what it was. But this, I find this to be more secure under heavy use. And, you know, it's just neither here nor there, but it is a point, is how does it lock?
I know that, you know, people sit there and say steel type and everything else like that. Like, how well does it hold an edge and everything like that? For me, the knife that I carry right now is a Boker AK-74. And I love this knife. I've carried this for a lot of years.
It's pretty well used.
Oh, it is. And something else on picking knives is on the clip style, how you're pulling it out of your pocket. Because one of them, they pull out two completely separate ways. I know that these blades are not as hard as other blades, but it also makes them easier for sharpening. The first day I got this, my wife got it for me for Christmas. She's like, don't cut yourself. I was like, okay.
And then you cut yourself?
No, I did not cut myself. What happened is Christmas evening, I was down in the basement. I go to open up a package, it slips, and I stab myself in the leg.
So he didn't cut himself?
No, I did not. And so I told my stepson, I said, hey, can you run upstairs, tell your mom I need her? And she's yelling upstairs, you better not have cut yourself. And I was like, I didn't. She got downstairs, I was like, I stabbed myself.
Stabbed myself, it's not a cut.
At SHOT Show, I stopped and told Boker that story, and they seemed completely unimpressed. So I don't know how many stories they've had similar to that. Whenever we talk about traveling with knives, I've got a really cheap $15 Smith & Wesson, because you've got a story where you had a very high-end blade taken off of you. And so if I forget this in a pack and on my carry-on, and they're like, hey, what is this? It's like, throw it away. I'm perfectly okay with them throwing away a $15 knife.
I threw away a $200 and some fixed blade knife one morning, really early morning at the airport. So, but at least I threw it away before I went through security. It worked way better than the loaded magazine I tried to take through security in one of my packs that got in there. That didn't work out so good. And
I don't know if you've been keeping up what's happening in Turks and Caicos, but they're putting people in prison for 12 years for 4 bullets.
Really?
Oh, man, yeah, you got to be careful.
I don't think
traveling.
I'm going to Turks and Caicos anytime soon.
Here's another knife that I picked up on a travel, and I've been wanting one of these type of blades. It's a Gerber as well, with the same locking style mechanism that you like. And I know that these tips can be pretty brittle, but I've been wanting one of these kind of razor style looking knives, and it's pretty lightweight.
There is a slight difference. Like you said, this is a razor style knife. I got really into knives for a while and dreamed about knife fighting and, you know, all kinds of cool shit. So someday we're going to do fixed blade knives, and then we're just going to, and people are going to be, why the hell do you have that many dollars in knives that you never use? Like you never, sometimes I pull it out and fantasize about gutting some motherfucker with it. I mean,
You ever thought about taking one of those and poking bloated cows?
Well, they're too big to, like, the cow has to heal up after you pop the blood. You know what I mean? Because you're putting it through their stomach and their hide.
Okay.
You know, to let the gas off. So, yeah. But anyway. So, my point was, hey, there's a little bit of a difference between this style tip and a Tanto tip.
Tanto, yeah.
Tanto. Potato. Okay, whatever. Those tips are brutally strong.
Yeah.
They're also very difficult to sharpen.
Yeah.
That transition from there to there is a bear. But yeah, you're right. This tip may be just a hair brutal, but don't confuse it with the Tanto tip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're a Lone Ranger guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the Japanese Tanto tip.
I tell you what, I love those those style knives, the tips on those, and you can get the AK-74 model in several different style blades on it, but and we're not even, like, whenever we talk about high-end knives and losing them, I lose a Microtech, and I'm pissed.
I've lost a knife, Benchmade. I used to have this Benchmade knife I love. There's a Benchmade tree somewhere in Potawatomi County. I don't know where, but I'm not getting the picking knives off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not sharpening pencils with
No.
with a Microtech or something like that. So these are working blades, tools that we carry every day.
Just, cheaper knives. He started to talk about steel. Hey, if I'm buying a high-end knife, I don't want very much stainless in it.
Yeah.
It just isn't hard enough, doesn't hold an edge as well. If you're a long ways from anywhere, you want that edge to stay sharp as long as you can, which means it's not a shaving edge to start with. It's a working edge. You know what I mean? It's sharp, but you're not shaving with it, because that fines out the edge and makes it chip really easy under work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I want carbon steels, and I want these towards the carbons. I like CM154. Maybe it's the best of both worlds. Maybe it's not. There's probably better steel out, but it's a good steel in between. But I don't want just plain stainless. When you talk about sharpening, I use diamond hones, and I still do it by hand. I don't know. Sometimes it's just nice to get everything out of your head and just feel that knife drag across, a nice diamond hone. But I use big ones. Mine are this long. They're probably a foot long and 2.5 inches wide. They're not cheap.
Do you feel like a samurai whenever you're doing that?
I do feel a little like a samurai. Yeah. In fact,
from 47 Ronin.
In fact, if we could just bring this up here and
that top knot,
bun that baby up, yeah, I could samurai the hell out of that. I could, But hey, sharpening is important, And if you don't know how to sharpen a knife, take it to somebody. Don't ruin the damn knife on a grinder or I just see so many like at gun shows. Hey, that's a Randall. I wonder why it's so cheap. Well, it's because somebody freaking ground on it with a grinder. You know what I mean? That's why it's so cheap. But carry knives. What are you going to use them for? And I'll be honest with you. One of the best carry using knives, in my opinion, is the Milwaukee. And it uses the box cutter. You just replace the box cutter edge. Nice knife, but it's heavy and big.
The only thing that I found in Milwaukee I do not like is they make a bullnose razor blade. Everything else, Milwaukee could make underwear, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm buying it.
Well, Stacy wears Milwaukee hoodies.
I've got a Milwaukee jacket, and that thing, you plug a battery into it. Yeah, Milwaukee.
I think she got some Milwaukee pants last time the guy came.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's got an in with Milwaukee dealer. So hey, Waters True Value in Wamego, Kansas, or Waters Hardware, or whatever it's called. Go see Stacy. She'll hook you up with. Here's the problem: whatever you want, Milwaukee wise, she's going to upsell you to the next tool up. Like she's going to upsell you. You're going to pay more than you went in to do.
You're going to go in for a knife and come out with a weed whacker.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep, that's how it's going to be. But big shout out to Waters out there. They got some decent looking girls working there. And hey, see Dale. Dale, and I'm not saying Dale's a good looking girl because, Dale's kind of an old guy, but go see Dale. He knows what he's doing when it comes to building stuff and things like that, Yeah. You got any shout outs on knives?
No, not really.
For me, I still like to stay Buck, Gerber.
Buck, Gerber, Boker.
Yeah, for me it's and I actually prefer Gerber to Buck, but Buck has changed a lot over the years. But Buck used to have a edge, and the way they made their edge so strong was it almost had a piece of wire, like it didn't taper to the edge, it tapered down, then it went out, and then you had the edge, which made the edge super strong for using. But when you were sharpening it, it was almost impossible. Hand sharpening is almost impossible because you kept riding on that little bubble, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you couldn't get down to, so and we're talking 30 years ago, it was frustrating, trying to sharpen a Buck knife. So that's Buck's, but I've enjoyed this one. I've always loved my Gerber knives. I even have an old Gerber, what was that? A Mark.
Gator.
What? No, the Mark, the Vietnam era freaking double-edged dagger. Mark.
Oh, I don't know, but I've got an old Gerber Gator. Back whenever they were still making them in the U.S. It's still one of my favorite knives.
Cold Steel's a good knife.
Cold Steel makes awesome knives.
back in the day, I was buying Cold Steel. I don't remember what they're called. They had a longer one, a shorter one. I always bought the shorter one.
Now we're starting to talk about fixed blades, though.
No, this were the
pocket knives?
Yeah, and they were $30, $32. I think they're $100 now.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I've kind of backed off, but that's good steel. You know, good blades. Hey, we're not out here selling knives or selling blades, and if we've left out anybody, it's just stuff that we do and things we think about. It's just I think it's funny at SHOT Show looking at people and seeing what they're carrying and all this stuff, and I'm just thinking, yeah, you wouldn't open a soup can with that knife.
No.
Like you would cry if you had to stick it through a piece of steel.
It's like you said, they're dressing.
Yeah.
It's a dress knife.
And I dress up sometimes. I have dress knives, They're in, just like I have dress watches, Yeah. A couple of my dress watches don't work. They're antique dive watches. Yeah. They don't run anymore. But they look good on my wrist. People don't. What time is it? I pull out my phone to see what time it is, right? Because my watch doesn't work, but it looks good, baby.
Yeah.
1960s dive watch. Are you kidding? Like, I probably could have been diving in the 60s.
All right. So that wraps it up.
All right. So, knives, plan to lose the damn thing.
Yep.
Buy to lose your knife. That's. I guess. Do we have anything else here? I think that's our main point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And day one, cut yourself with your knife, and then it's yours.
Yep. Get it over with.
Yeah. Get it over with, and it's yours.
Yep.
Out.